Hi there, my name is Ciara Wright and I'm director with the Wellness Crew and Glenville Nutrition and founder of Wellness for Heroes. We hope that you're finding it supportive during this time. And today I'm going to talk to you about some supplements, some nutritional supplements that you also might find supportive. I have a little show and tell here for you, but before I go into specifics, I just want to run through a couple of points. The first being probably the most obvious, that dietary supplements are not a replacement for a healthy, balanced diet. However, that said, it's at times like these that sometimes our healthy diet is the most difficult to maintain. So you might be grabbing food on the go, you might not be snacking on fruit as often as you might usually be. So it's possible that you're already suffering some nutritional deficiencies or lacking some nutrients in your diet where they would normally be. And in addition to that, you may be at an increased demand at this time. So actually now is a time where you really need to support your nutritional levels. And if you can't do that by diet, it might be a good time to consider supplementing. Supplementing is kind of, as it says on the tin, it's there to supplement your healthy diet, and it can be really useful even in the short term, just where you've identified either an increased nutritional need or a lacking in your diet. And the second thing I want to cover is that not all supplements are perfectly safe and natural. So there can be really, really high doses sometimes. So I would recommend, avoiding that and just being careful with the amounts that you're taking, unless of course that you have time to come and speak with a nutritionist. I would also say that they can interact with one another. So for example, if you're already taking some supplements and then you start on something that I recommend here, you could then end up doubling up and taking too much. So too much of a good thing is not necessarily beneficial. They can also interact with medications and certain health conditions. So I might mention a couple as I go along, but it's going to be by no means exhaustive. So you'd want to bear that in mind in terms of other medications you're taking and health conditions you might already have as well. And then the final thing to mention is, even though some of these products are in my home, I'm not sponsored by any of these companies, and this is not a promotional video in any way, shape or form. The first thing I want to consider is a really good multivitamin and mineral. It's going to cover off a lot of nutritional bases. It's going to just give you a really good base for your diet. And it's something that often people take when they know maybe they're a little run down or they're not eating as healthily as they could do. So maybe now is the time to look into taking a daily multivitamin and mineral. One of my absolute favorites is this product here, is Revive Active. So this is a lovely Irish brand. And I also feel like this is like 4 products rolled into one. It has so many different nutrients, minerals and vitamins in it. It has your full daily allowance of vitamin D, and I'm going to talk to you a bit about that in a moment anyway. It has some vitamin C. It has a full B complex in it. B complex is very important at this time. You often might hear B vitamins being referred to as your stress vitamins. Our demand goes up for B vitamins when we are working long hours, when we have a very demanding lifestyle. So whatever multivitamin you're looking at, do try to incorporate all of the B vitamins in it. It also has some really nice other nutrients in it that support our metabolism. So our metabolism is there to create energy from our food that we take in. So we want our metabolism to be working really well for you at the moment. It contains things like CoQ10 and D-ribose, which work right down in there in the little mitochondria where our energy is produced. I would often recommend this to people who are maybe having a bit of a slump during the middle of the day, or to people who are trying to reduce their caffeine intake. So we often turn to tea or coffee to give us a bit of a boost. But the problem with that is that firstly, caffeine is a diuretic, so it means that you might lose more water. And then that leads on to dehydration, which can cause headaches and actually contribute to physical stress in your body. Caffeine also is a stimulant, so it's just constantly adding to your levels of stress, and it might also prevent you from sleeping. So, living on caffeine is not a great idea, and in the long term can cause some pretty significant problems. So taking out a cup of coffee and maybe replacing it with this is something that I often recommend. And part of it is because this is a drink. So it's an orange flavored powder, put it into water, dissolves very readily. I would put it into a big large glass of water, like 400 mils. So it's very hydrating and it's a great source of vitamins and minerals. Importantly, now this does not have iron in it. I would say that a lot of people associate iron with energy and an iron deficiency with fatigue. That's true, but I don't recommend taking iron unless you're actually deficient in it. Genetically speaking, in Ireland, there's quite a large number of people who take in too much iron and store it too readily. So that can be a problem in itself. So having a multi without iron can sometimes be a good idea. Another drink related one that I really like is by this brand called Nuzest. So this one is a greens powder, which has like absolutely everything you could possibly think of in it. It doesn't have any iron, but it has loads and loads of nutrients. It also has some plant compounds like turmeric and goji berries and flax seeds and mushrooms and all sorts of things that you could even think of. It is a kind of fruit flavored drink, and I would probably mix a scoop of that with some frozen fruit in like a smoothie maker or a NutriBullet, and then I would add in some protein powder to make that a more complete meal. And that's something that would be really nutritious that you could grab on the go, drink it later, drink it over the course of the day, whatever it might be. This is plant-based protein, so this is pea protein. It's very low in carbs and it's 85% protein. This one is vanilla, and that's because I like vanilla, but there's actually lots and lots of different flavors. So something to think of that is a really good multi-nutrient all in a drink that you can bring with you. Now, what about when you come home from work and you're trying to wind down and you're trying to relax? Maybe relax your muscles, relax your mind, support restful sleep. Well, the first thing that would come to my mind here would be magnesium. So this is a mineral that aids muscle relaxation, can promote sleep and general overall relaxation. Lots of different varieties you can get in terms of magnesium. So this one here is a magnesium citrate powder. It's very easy to take, little tiny scoop in a little bit of water. However, it can have a laxative effect. Now maybe that's something that could be beneficial because sometimes the digestion goes on hiatus when we're under stress. So if you found yourself becoming a little bit sluggish, actually that could have a bit of a dual purpose. So often we recommend the little scoop in water before bed, and then if you want a little bit more support, add in a couple of kiwis to your breakfast. It's actually clinically proven, and we find in our clinic that that gets amazing results just to get things moving. If you do not want a laxative effect, in fact that's the opposite of what you would like, then something maybe more like a magnesium glycinate, which is just probably better absorbed, so therefore it has less of an impact inside the digestive tract. That's something that you could take during the day. That's a capsule format, you just take that with food. Magnesium, you don't even need to take the full recommended daily allowance, but most of the products would be in and around that range, not often to find high doses of magnesium. Another way of taking it is transdermally. So magnesium is very good at soaking through our skin, and actually, even while you're taking it, you can have support relaxation because you can get it as bath flicks. This is a very popular way to relax. So you would just put a cup of your magnesium flakes into your bath water if you have time to have a bath before bed. If not, a foot soak might do either. This brand, Better You, also do a magnesium spray, and again we get great reports from about that in clinic. And you just spray it on the soles of your feet. You can spray it on your legs, but it might have a little bit of a drying effect. So some people prefer to keep it just on the soles of their feet. 5 to 10 sprays on each foot before you climb into bed, and that might just help support relaxation. Loads of other things you can do either throughout the day. So I don't have these supplements to hand, but for example, a great product is by the Natural Health Practice, and it's called Tranquil Support. I'll pop it a little picture in picture here. And it has things like L-theanine in it, which promotes relaxation. And it has a little bit of Siberian ginseng, which is a herb that helps us recover from stress. Again, we get really great feedback from that, from our very stressed patients in clinic. Another one that has a lot of research behind it is the herb ashwagandha. So again, recovery from stress, promoting sleep, reducing scores on anxiety scales. The very last thing I want to cover off today then, just because it might be remiss of me not to mention, is vitamin D. So vitamin D is super important for our immune system, and there are lots of trials to show Irish people are often deficient in vitamin D, particularly in the winter months. And you might be looking out at the weather now thinking, well, sure, the sun is here, we'll all get plenty of vitamin D. It depends on how much you can get out into that sunshine. And if you're working shift work or very long hours, days might go by where you have not gotten out into the sunshine. You don't need a lot of sunshine. If you can get out on a break and expose your limbs or even your face to the sun, even 10 to 15 minutes will get you a really good top up. Bear in mind that makeup and moisturizers have a lot of sun protection factor in them now. So if you're wearing those and you're not rolling up your sleeves or your pant legs, you're not going to be making much vitamin D. After we've come out of a long winter, we're probably at our lowest levels if you haven't been supplementing through the winter. So if you think your sun exposure is going to be low, and maybe none of us are going to get a holiday to a foreign country with lots of sunshine, then maybe maintaining some vitamin D, even if you took it ad hoc on the days where you thought yourself that you didn't get out into the sunshine, it might be really supportive of your immune system. Again, you're working in a difficult environment at high risk, but also when we're under stress, our immune system can be depressed. I hope I've given you some ideas today about supplements that might be beneficial. If you'd like to ask any questions, please get in touch. Ciara@thewellnesscrew.ie. I'd be happy to answer if I can. And I hope you have a great and healthy day.